Hello everybody, this is TMold16 here again, and we're going to make something that looks a little something like that. So first off, you're going to start with a large enough background in Photoshop that'll fit your background. I mean, it depends on the resolution of your screen at the time, but it's 1280 by 720 is what I use. And then we're going to take our paint bucket tool and select a really dark purple, or a really dark bluish color if you want. You want to make sure it's just about the closest thing to black for something that we're going to do later on. Alright, so now we're going to select our text tool and make our foreground color white. There is the font that I used. I'm going to have it down the info box below because I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Then you want to make all your text layers on separate layers. Spelling out your word. I use TMold16 obviously. Now we're going to select all the layers, shift and then select them all. Go up to layer, align, bottom edge. This is just going to make our life a lot easier. Then we're going to place it all in order. Alright, there we go. I'm going to zoom in here. And then now what you want to do is make them all just sort of overlap. And just to be safe that I got it all, I'm going to align the bottom edges again. Now we're going to select a foreground to transparent gradient type. And we're just going to try and cover as much of the document as we can. We're going to create a new layer first called gradient. And we're going to drag that on top of everything else. Alright, as you can see here, I got a nice big gradient. It's better if you get a more solid color down where your letters are in the bottom right hand corner. So now we're going to control click the little thumbnail of your first letter, then command copy, or you can just copy and paste, and then select the gradient layer and then command V and paste it onto that layer. Basically, the best way to describe this is like a cookie cutter. The actual text is the cookie cutter on top of like the gradient. And you'll see what I mean once we get all these done. You want to do that to every single letter. It's going to start creating new layers above. And then once you delete all those layers, you're going to see, I don't have difficulty here with my 6. But once you delete all those layers, you're going to realize that you just have like a faded effect. That's actually the color of the gradient behind it. Now you're going to command click it again, select your paint bucket tool. It might tell you a little error, depends on how much gradient you have down there, but just ignore it and it's still selected. You're going to go into your foreground color and just select a really bright kind of, I went with a paler color. I mean, it's up to you. But you're just going to fill it in and it's going to stay like that same little transparent look to it. Then select the next layer, command click it. I'll have all most of the colors that I used in the info box below as well. Yeah, there's the error message. Like I said, we can just ignore that for right now. We're just going to pick some crazy colors. And there you go. And then we're going to merge all of our layers together. Command E is the shortcut for that in Photoshop. so a different way to do this, I mean, is what I did here. I used a outer glow and I selected the whitish color from the original color, my foreground. And there's actually a different way to do this. You can duplicate the layer that you merged together, and then after you duplicate it, select the bottom layer and add a small Gaussian blur to it, probably like a 2.5 Gaussian blur. So you get each individual color with a little blur behind it, you know? Makes it look like a glow. Now I'm going to duplicate that layer. And I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm just going to drag it down below to give it a little bit of a reflection look. And then I'm going to go right click it and then perspective, and then just drag out the top corners a bit to make it look more realistic. And then go over and turn down the opacity. I'm just going to clarify and rename all those. Bring the opacity down to, I don't know, 30s, something like that. I don't like to make step-by-step tutorials. I mean, it's up to you to put your own creativity into it, but... And there you go, that's the basic. I have a couple more little add-ons that you could possibly do. And I'll give you a quick little info on how to do it. We're going to go into a Gaussian blur. This is like I was saying before, if you duplicate that layer and throw it underneath, then add a little bit of a Gaussian blur to it, it'll make it look like a nicer glow. The second one is you can add a motion blur, and that gives it a cool little effect as well. Just a little motion blur and it looks cool. And now this one is actually my personal favorite. It looks pretty cool. We're going to select a nice big brush that covers most of the area. We're going to make a new layer first. We're just going to call it the glow and drag it on top of everything. Then we're going to set the blend mode to overlay. We're going to change the foreground color first to white. You want to make sure the hardness of the brush is kind of light. This is why I wanted a really dark purple, because it'll get you the best effect. I realize that you have to drag it down underneath all the other layers now. And then we're just going to put it back there to give it a little more of a glow. It's a nice little effect. You want to make the brush size a little bigger. Alright, thanks. This has been TMold16 with another tutorial. I hope to see you guys again soon.